So in case anyone hasn't noticed, God is the most powerful person in the universe by a factor of infinity. Call upon God and actually believe. This is a revelation. The work of pleasing God and serving God is believing. Isn't that amazing? Believing is invisible. Everything in this universe that is invisible is the highest value. So for example, okay, you can say a prayer in public, verbally, and people can see it and hear it. And you can see it and hear it. But what's the far more important ingredient to any prayer? The invisible belief behind it, within you, okay, in your spirit man. How much you actually believe that what you say is going to happen. And that's what Jesus taught us. But again, it's the unseen thing that is the most priceless, okay? Jesus said, this is the work of God, that you believe in me, that you believe in the one whom he sent, okay? So, faith is invisible, okay? And the more you see from God, and the more that you hear from God, and just plain grow in general, the more your faith grows on the inside of you, okay? And you have this just incredible confidence in God at all times, in everything, that every detail is known by him, and everything is under his control. You know, I just marvel at how many people, you know, think, you know, that they need to control God, or think that they are in control, or yada, yada, yada. It's like, you know, God is infinitely intelligent. He's aware of the atom, spin, and location of everything in his universe, and the position of every spirit and every thought that everyone is thinking. He's not unaware. And he's not, you know, without a plan. So, the most important thing we ever do is love him, which he himself told us that is the greatest commandment. And to love God is to trust him as well. And then satisfaction is huge. God has been speaking to me about satisfaction, that it's all about satisfaction, okay? When you satisfy yourself, okay, in God, doing whatever it is that you do, that pleases God, because it is his delight to satisfy his children completely. So whatever you do, do it until you are satisfied. That is a word I've had from the Lord on several occasions. I believe it applies to everyone. Whatever you do, do it until you are satisfied. Okay? And so that applies to me right now. Taking this walk and preaching this video. You can feel when you've had enough. It's amazing how everything really is a feeling. It's like you can feel when you've had enough preaching. You can feel when you've said enough, and that you've had a good meal, so to speak, of preaching. It's amazing how there's this dual wave that God ordained with the mouth. It's like you have to eat until you're satisfied. And then, as saints on the earth, you speak until you are satisfied. And it's something that is not taught properly to most young people. Sadly, most young people are not encouraged to speak, and they are not encouraged to express themselves and to share their story and appreciate their story in detail in verbal form. And I believe that that's changing rapidly, okay? People all over the world are discovering the satisfaction of getting their voice out in abundance every single day. It's like a daily meal. You know, you eat food throughout the day. Well, you preach throughout the day. You speak throughout the day. You express what's inside of you, outflow throughout the day. This is like a movement. I mean, there's people that are, cashing in on this. People like, Brene Brown, and that, are running these like so-called, vulnerability / openness clinics, like in businesses across the world, where they're essentially just encouraging everyone everywhere to open up their mouth more and talk, and all that stuff, and share their thoughts and everything. Essentially, it's an openness movement. And I see this dramatically taking over the highest echelons of leadership on the earth, including political positions, definitely religious and spiritual positions, and ideally every elder and every speaker over others on planet Earth. Okay. There just needs to be more openness. Honesty is everything, but openness is critical for the healing of political leadership. It is the healing for all forms of leadership. In any situation, openness and honesty is the most critical factor. It's amazing once you enter into this zone that the complete spiritual world is governed by truth and lies. And your position of blessing in this global spiritual world that is monitored by God and also known quite well by Satan, the father of lies, you become extremely aware of the critical importance of always communicating the absolute truth as best as you possibly can every single day, today, now, at all times. That is critical for your survival. It is critical for your blessing. It just is, because the spiritual world is governed by God's laws of blessing upon truthfulness and honesty and confession, and his judgment and curse upon dishonesty and lies and closedness, if you will, if he has in fact commanded you to speak or open your mouth in a given situation or against a given thing. Okay? So, openness and honesty. It's exploding on planet Earth. It's the internet and YouTube has massively been a part of this. But in general, it's the grace of God that is jacking this through the roof. And I dream of a day when political leaders and every leader of every sort know God well and talk about God well and speak from their platform, God said this to me today. This is what God said to me personally. And it's accurate. Like, they know the personal voice of God, and they hear from God like King Solomon did and King David did, and they tell people what God said, and it's accurate. That is the dream, okay? Every human being in perfect relationship with God, hearing and knowing his voice extremely well, and confessing it whenever they are graced by God to be in a platform or place of confession to do so before others, okay? So, but it's all about honesty. No one advances anywhere in this universe without honesty. That's one of my favorite Gematria gems, is that honesty is father plus son. Nest equals father, the rest equals son. The picture of the tree. I talked about that one before. But no one advances anywhere in this universe. And certainly no one lasts, legacy-wise, in this story without constant honesty. Good stuff, people. It's amazing how God must be desired. He must be known. He must be worshipped. And when you hold this mindset of constantly listening for the personal voice of God and paying careful attention to the details of what God ordains in your day today, and waiting on Him constantly for amazing interpretations of what those signs, symbols, numbers, details, anything is. It's always parables, okay? Everything represents something, just like Jesus spoke on earth, okay? He's still God in heaven, just like He spoke in parables on earth. Yeah, it's really quite amazing. So, I am in love with preaching. I am in love with speaking. And the incredible satisfaction and the sense of need to speak. That's apparently what God is doing in my life right now today. I'm back in love with preaching and videos of that. And God holds my future and everyone's future. Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But to rewind and conclude, whatever you do, do it until you are satisfied. That is a word from the Lord. Whatever you do, do it until you are satisfied. And so, I will record this video until I am satisfied. And I am done.